disguised himself as a cop and knocked on the Border Patrol officer's door. As soon as it opened, he shoved the man to the ground, landed a hard punch to his cheekbone, and silenced the woman who had begun screaming. He then forced her to fetch the officer's uniform and handcuffs. After securing the man in his car, he went back inside, tied the woman up, and even laid a blanket over her, telling her to stay quiet until morning, or she'd be collecting her boyfriend's corpse. Next, he drove the officer to a nearby grave and forced him to dig up the body buried there. The moment the coffin cracked open, the officer gagged and vomited from the overwhelming stench. Pete, unfazed, tapped the coffin with his boot and signaled for him to haul the corpse out. But with cramped space and his hands still cuffed, the officer could barely move. Later, they went to an old, rundown house. Pete poured nearly 40 pounds of salt over the corpse to act as a preservative, then wrapped it carefully in a blanket. He wasn't doing this out of cruelty. He was fulfilling a promise. The body belonged to Marquez, a Mexican immigrant worker. The two men had once made a pact. If Marquez died on American soil, Pete would see that his body was returned to Mexico. Marquez didn't want to be buried in a land smothered with billboards. He'd even sketched a simple map, never realizing that his casual words would one day come true. A few days earlier, Marquez had been out tending sheep when he spotted a wolf in the distance. He grabbed his rifle and fired 3 shots, scaring the animal off. But the noise caught the attention of Norton, a Border Patrol officer who happened to be relieving himself nearby. Mistaking the gunfire for smugglers taking aim at him, Norton panicked. He raced back to his cruiser for a weapon, tracked the sound, and fired at Marquez. When Marquez collapsed, Norton rushed over, only to discover a wounded wolf lying nearby. It hit him instantly. He had just killed an innocent man. Terrified of prison, Norton buried Marquez on a small hill. But days later, wolves unearthed the shallow grave, and 2 passing hunters discovered the body. Pete was soon called to the station to identify his friend. After confirming the body, the police handed over Marquez's belongings. Pete lingered on the photo of a woman and child. He asked to take Marquez's body back with him, but the police refused. Local law required an autopsy and official burial. If the law couldn't bring justice, Pete would do it himself. That night, he knocked on Norton's door. Catching him off guard, Pete subdued him, then forced him to dig Marquez out once more. Pete was determined to bring Marquez home to Mexico, to fulfill his wish of resting in his own soil. And so, that night, Pete set out with Norton on the long journey south.